There's been a lot of movement in the NFL with free agency and trades. And what do we make of all of it in regards to fantasy football? Well, there are three situations where I am jumping off the bandwagon. And we begin with the Tampa Bay Bucks because last year, Jalen McMillan really burst onto the scene late in the season. And he was filling in for Chris Godwin and ended up helping a lot of teams either get to the playoffs or even win in the fantasy playoffs. And then we heard the news this week. Chris Godwin is returning to Tampa Bay. Last year he was injured, then he was a free agent. Well, he's back. And so that means all of the excitement and the hype has to be downplayed with McMillan. As good as he looked, he shifts to the number 3 wide receiver. Is there enough opportunity in Tampa? Maybe, but you still got Mike Evans. You still got Chris Godwin. And so I even like Kate Otten at tight end. So now McMillan goes way down draft boards. Whereas if Godwin would have gone somewhere else, now all of a sudden you're jumping on the McMillan bandwagon. But instead, I think it's time we jump off. All right, number 2, Sam Darnold. I was never on the Sam Darnold bandwagon. At one point, I had to admit he was great in Minnesota because he was lighting it up for fantasy purposes, and the connection that he had with Justin Jefferson was amazing. But now he goes to Seattle, and I just believe that he had the perfect situation in Minnesota. They were able to maximize him. Can he do it again? And can he do it with an entire new franchise, new weapons, new coaches? I don't buy into it. I really don't. And so I will avoid him in fantasy. And I'm still debating whether or not I want to invest in the running game in Seattle with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. But I'm out on Darnold. I don't think he's going to be that guy you get all excited about in fantasy as your maybe mid-tier quarterback. I'm avoiding him because we haven't seen him do it 2 years in a row. We know what he did with the Jets, and then we know what he did with the Panthers, and we know what he did at the end of last year in Minnesota. When they needed him most, he let him down, and so I'm out. I'm off the bandwagon. And then lastly, this is obvious, but nobody should pay any attention to the Cleveland Browns when it comes to fantasy football. And the big signing for them, woohoo, they bring back Myles Garrett. Okay, great. You got Myles Garrett. How'd that work out for you with a few wins last year? He's awesome. But is he worth taking up your whole salary cap? No. They've got no weapons on offense. Jerry Jeudy's okay. Maybe you give him a look, but I don't want to. I'm off the bandwagon in Cleveland. They don't have a quarterback. Who are they going to get? They're way down at the bottom of the barrel. Maybe a rookie, too risky. And they've got no running game. We'll see what they do with Nick Chubb. Regardless, I don't want the Browns. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. And Garrett, it's a great re-signing, I guess, because you don't lose a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. But now you can't have that money to spend on any weapons for the offense for us as fantasy managers. So Cleveland, I'm out. I'm off the bandwagon. And there you go. There's a couple little teasers here in the offseason as the news starts rolling in, free agency and trades. We'll learn more in the coming weeks. And then, of course, we have the NFL draft coming up. But we're trying to keep you in the loop here at Fantasy Football Fellowship.